Good afternoon, class. Today is Tuesday, May 26th. Let's get started with language arts. Today we are doing the song Agony from Into the Woods, and if we were in school, I would be talking all about the fantasy of this and how it's a fairy tale but different. And I know that I think it was yesterday that we just did the flipped fairy tale story, so we kind of get that idea. A flip fairy tale is when we have a traditional story that we know super, super well, like in this one, I think it's Rapunzel and Cinderella, and they've rewritten it from different perspectives to give us just like a different version of the story. It's kind of like if you ever read, probably in like third grade-ish, around that age, The True Story of the Three Little Pigs, how it's written from the perspective of the big bad wolf. That's essentially what's going to happen on Tuesday and tomorrow for our next few musical manias. We're taking fantasy songs and rewriting them from a different perspective. So, sorry, I forgot to say the 3 times. First time you listen to the song or read through the lyrics or both, I want you to do the skip it and move on strategy. Obviously, the song is called Agony, and that might not be a word that you know. Because it's repeated so many times throughout the song, I do want to define it for you before we get in. Agony means like pain, and you can probably get that using context clues from the song, but that is really important for us to know. Second time you listen through, I want you to try to find any elements of fantasy. So is there anything in here that they mean literally? So for example, he literally means that he's going to climb her hair, but that's a fantasy element. So this is a challenge for you. First time through, we're doing the find the words that we don't know, skip it and move on strategy. The second time through, we're listening to the song and we're trying to highlight with different colors or underline or circle elements of fantasy. So this is different than figurative and literal language because it's things that they mean actually happen that way in the story, but it might be different than like our experience here on planet Earth. Okay, so once and then the third time, I don't know why I'm so disorganized today. The third time you listen to this, I want you to draw a picture of what you think is happening in this scene, okay? The first question, so if you're here, my expectation is that you've listened to this song 3 times or you've read this song 3 times or both. You've done those 3 activities, you've really thought about the fantasy elements, and you're ready to engage with and better understand the song. So the first question is related to what I was just defining. The word agony in the song most likely means A, hatred, B, pain, C, hopefulness, or D, sadness. I'm going to give the answer in 3, 2, 1. It is B, pain. And that one is just if you were listening to me earlier in this video, I defined it for you. He's saying agony, far more painful than yours. And we can really see those context clues coming together. Question number 2. Which of the following choices best describes how the 2 characters feel about each other? A, they are jealous that the other has a princess while they are still alone. B, they feel that while the other prince is also in pain, their problems are worse. C, they are happy for one another happily ever after. D, they are angry at each other for causing their agony. I'm going to circle the correct answer. Pause if you need more time. I'm going to give the answer in 3, 2, 1. This is also B. They feel that while the other prince is also in pain, their problems are worse. And we can see this when they're going back and forth and they're like, well, she's 10 steps behind while you're 10 feet below and you're just out of reach. And he also says things like agony, far more painful than yours, and so they're really trying to like one up each other. If you've ever had this, let me just say, I have definitely had this argument with my brothers more than one time, probably more than 100 times, where we're both going through something difficult and we try to outdo each other. I will say that's definitely not a good thing. Don't learn that from us, but we definitely try to outdo each other, to get each other's sympathy, or I don't even really know why we do it. I think it is something pretty normal for siblings to do, is to want more sympathy than the other person. Number 3, which of the following is not an adjective? A, sensitive, B, caring, C, clever, or D, everything. I'm going to give the answer in 3, 2, 1. It is D, everything. Everything is actually a collective noun, kind of. It refers to more than one thing. Remember, my sentence stem for adjectives is I am. So if you can fill in that sentence, I am, with the word, it is definitely an adjective. I am sensitive, checks out. I am caring, checks out. I am clever, checks out. I am everything. That one makes the least amount of sense. Number 4, which of the following could replace the phrase without changing the meaning? Blithe and becoming and frequently humming. Does it mean A, annoying, disturbing, and always singing? Jaunty and beautiful, often humming? C, skipping, dancing, and often humming. D, unhappy and frustrated, singing away. I'm going to give the answer in 3, 2, 1. It is B, jaunty and beautiful, often humming. Jaunty was a word that was like really popular in my class one year because it was like a vocab word one day, and then students just kept hilariously using it in every context possible. And I believe that's why I put it in this song. But we can definitely get a sense of the tone of this song is definitely positive as opposed to negative. Remember back from our context clues strategies, we always talk about, is it positive or negative? What does it sound like? This song is frustrated, but when they're talking about the princesses, they're not talking about them being annoying. They're not talking about them being unhappy. So A and D make no sense. B and C are the ones that I could see, kind of be getting confused, but it's B because jaunty means the same thing as blithe, right? They're both happy. Beautiful and becoming. This is kind of the giveaway. Becoming means beautiful in this sense, right? Does not mean dancing. So make sure it plugs in and does not change the meaning at all. Fill in the analogy with the best choice. Woe is to miserable as happy is to. So I just want to show this on my board, right? This is an analogy, so we're trying to make connections between the words. So how are woe and miserable connected? They both have a negative tone, right? If I'm experiencing a woe, then I'm miserable. So what would be the same as happy? What would I be experiencing if I was happy? Would I be experiencing joy, anguished, agony, or excited? The best answer in 3, 2, 1 is A, joy, right? Those are synonyms. They're related together in the same way. Which princess situation do you feel is worse? Explain your choice. This is one of those moments where I'm so sad that we're not in school right now. Every time I like hit something that I'm like, oh, I know we were going to have a great discussion, I get so sad. But this is one of those times. I remember after doing this song for many years, I have the class divide on the count of 3 and choose which prince is worse, Cinderella's prince or Rapunzel's prince. And one year, this resulted in my class in a battle to the point that my students were not talking to each other from opposing sides of Cinderella and Rapunzel for several days. So just kind of think about that. Who has the worst situation? Is it worse that the person wants to be with you but is up in a tower and so out of reach? Or is it that a person is scared to be with you and is running away? Which one of those is kind of the worst situation? We're going to hear from Cinderella's perspective tomorrow. Okay, so for Lightland today, we are reading chapters 4 and 5. Chapter 4 is In the Dark. Look at the quotes from the book and try to find the best synonym for each underlined word. Just as a reminder again, synonym means same. So that means 2 words that have the same meaning. Now, Lottie had not actually been frightened by the story of the Night King and Babbling Robert. She was almost always brave, and this sort of boogeyman stuff didn't scare her. But Lewis, even hearing it all secondhand, felt queasy. What does the word queasy mean? The headlights spread past and illuminated a bare, grassy plain. What does illuminated mean? Wait, Lewis was trying to think through. Lottie, remember what they told you. Sleepers are in peril. What does that word peril mean? Okay. Next one. Somehow she had always assumed that at least Lewis knew what he meant by his cryptic drawings. What does cryptic mean? Number 5. The sound of a young man's voice, boastful, excited, then proud, insistent. She had never heard this voice before. What does boastful mean? A lot happens in this chapter, so a good reading strategy is to summarize and recap what happened. Do this form in a comic strip, so draw 4 boxes of what happened in the story, kind of summarizing it down as best you can. Very much like our Musical Mania strategy, where we draw pictures to better understand. The next chapter we're reading is chapter 5, Left Behind. Look at the quotes from the book and try to find the best synonym for each underlined word. Number 1, Mr. Cook puttered around setting the house right while no one else watching him. What does puttered mean? Number 2, Lottie stood transfixed, trying to prying the page free from under all her other treasures. She felt her face flush. Behind her on the floor, the cherry wood box was open and glowing again. Number 3, your kingship, the rat whined. Lewis didn't know what was going on. Was he still asleep? He shook himself. He was cold and stiff and sore. Who did these rodents think he was? What does rodents mean? Between the voices bombarding him from every angle and the questioning ringing through his own head, Lewis felt dizzy. What does bombarding mean? Number 5, Lewis winced at the sharp, acrid smell of burned fuel as murky smoke poured out of the reconfigured snowmobile. A black cloud of exhaust hung heavily in the air. What does acrid mean? Another good reader strategy is something called perspective. Write Lewis's arrival in Lightland from the perspective of the talking rats that he encounters. So very similar to the musical mania that we're doing this day. We usually hear the perspective from a third person perspective of these fairy tales, Cinderella and Rapunzel. Now we're hearing it from the prince's perspective themselves, the pain that they're feeling. This time, the story is told again in third person perspective, but we're mostly focusing on Lottie and Lewis, right? What is the rats and the rodents that we're reading about? What is their perspective? This is a great way to increase your writing potential, is to really expand and see if you can write from different perspectives. Your comprehension questions are: who is the Night King? Predict what is going to happen next in our story. How will the Night King react to meeting Lewis? Will he even recognize him? I do want to go over the questions from yesterday. So for chapter 2, open up your book, go to chapter 2, and I'm going to go through those answers right now. Number 1, masonry means built, constructed stone, not modern. Agitated, number 2, means annoyed, irritated, unhappy, frustrated. Oblivion means unknown, void, uncertainty. Number 4, essence means basis, meaning, or where it comes from. Number 5, void means space, uncertainty, nothing there, nothingness. For comprehension, question number 1, describe Lightland. What kind of place is it? Lightland is a mysterious place constructed from people's memories. It is full of people from memories, however haunted by the Night King. Number 2, what happened to Robert? Robert was attacked by the Night King and has now lost all of his memories. He is stuck in oblivion. Number 3, how did Lottie get to Lightland? Who helps her get there? Lottie gets to Lightland using the story box her father built her. She uses her memories. Umber, the Technicolor bird, helps her get there. Chapter 3, Lewis's essay. For the vocabulary, number 1, exasperated means annoyed, insistent, screaming, or breathlessly. Number 2, engrossed means interested, paying attention, really into, or not being able to be distracted. Number 3, interpretations mean perspective, meaning ways of looking at the same story. Number 4, briskly means quickly, speedily, at a fast pace. Number 5, dilapidated means destructed, falling over, falling apart, broken, or rubble. For the comprehension question, number 1, who interprets Lewis's essay for him? It is Alice Atwell, a shy but intelligent girl from their class that makes sense of Lewis's drawings and scribbles. Number 2, what do you think Lewis's essay means? Why does he write it in such a funny way? This is part of the overall story arc, hint, hint, so I want you to make sure you do your own answer. Number 3, why doesn't Lewis talk to anyone except for Lottie? This is unknown. Lewis, like Lottie, is simply very stubborn. He's very different than any other character, at least that I've ever, read before. He can talk but refuses to. Number 4, what is Lottie's gym teacher like? Why doesn't he like her? Lottie's gym teacher is not very nice. He doesn't like Lottie because she doesn't wear a uniform and has a hard time participating in gym class. Number 5, does Lewis believe Lottie when she talks about Lightland? Would you believe your best friend in the same situation? Lewis does believe Lottie when she talks about Lightland. As far as your best friend, I would absolutely believe my best friend. I surround myself with exceedingly honest people. When I'm being a jerk, I expect my best friends to come to me and say, Megan, you are being a jerk. Stop. And my friends have done that before. And I've taken a step back and said, you know what? I made the wrong choice there. Those are the best kind of friends to surround yourself with 100%, because we all make mistakes and we don't need people around us who are just going to encourage us to keep making mistakes. We need people around us who encourage us to make good choices. And I feel if there's one thing that I've done correctly in my life is I have amazing friends who really support me and encourage me to be the best version of myself. So my best friend in the world is someone named Bethany. And if she came up to me and said, I had to travel to this crazy world, it's called Lightland. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you have to see it. You have to try it. I would believe her because she's a generally honest person. So thank you so much for joining me for Lightland and for Agony from Into the Woods, the musical. It is available. It's a Disney movie, actually. So if you're curious about seeing Into the Woods, it is available on Disney Plus and Amazon Prime. So I will see you all tomorrow for more language arts and more awesomeness. I will see you later. Bye.